Hello, hello, everybody. This is Real Talk, Real People. Real Talk, Real People. Real Talk, Real People. And as the title says, we're going in. We're going hella hard on Spider Man No Way Home. There will be spoilers. I've given you guys, I told y'all Thursday after I got done seeing that. I remember I came home. I'm like, yo, I'm not playing with y'all. I'm giving y'all till Sunday to see this movie. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I implore you, watch this video as soon as you get done. And you're going to be like, yo, I need to talk to somebody about it. Don't worry. We got you. We got you. Watch this after you watch that. If you have seen the movie or didn't plan on seeing the movie and you don't mind it being spoiled, we going in. As always, I hope everyone's doing great. Hope everyone's feeling great. I'm feeling good. Doing my little fasting thing. Don't worry about it, all that. But in honor of Spider-Man Homecoming. Damn. Well, Homecoming, no Far From Home and No Way Home. I'm going to let the streets of New York tell you how they feel about Spider-Man. I'm going to play it right now. I'm going to let them let you know. I'm going to let them let you know. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Yeah, y'all can hear this.
Hey, yo, we got Byron's Car Wash live from Coney Island. Are you vaccinated? Yes, sir. I was feeling thirsty. Your mom gave me a gallon of Henny to quench that, you heard? There's no snow on the floor. He's really skiing in Coney Island on a hard top. What we doing Coney Island, Khalid? Real. No, we keep it real. Fuck your life. Bing bang. He had too many shots. You want a shot? Hey, yo, Ariana Grande, what's up, mama? Come to Coney Island, take a spin on the cyclone. I miss you. Let's see that flip, boy. Yeah. Put the yellow phones on. I have 7 female wives. Go to my Instagram. What do you want to tell Joe Biden right now? What's up, baby? Take me out the... Hey, yo. This is the Kim and Kanye of Coney Island. Hey, Kim ain't got shit on me. Yo, his balls. Steve Jobs did not die for this. If you see these dogs in your front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard.
Bing bang. And there we go. Bing bang. That shit's been killing me. All right, so I just had to get that out of the way. Bing bang. You see Spider Man up in the sky? You go ahead and tell him hi. Bing bang. All right, so let's do this. So this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go through it. I'm not gonna give a point by point recap of the movie. It was a pretty long movie, 2 hours and 28 minutes, I believe. Great movie. Not dull at all at any points. So I think it would be good to do at some point. We'll do a tier list. Um, we'll go over some of these talking points, and of course, um, if anyone wants to chime in, feel free to comment, go in. But this is the Spider-Man No Way Home, um, Spider-Man No Way Home review. So let's talk about this. So we're gonna go over the initial thoughts here. So for Spider-Man No Way Home, I was looking at this, right? I was looking at the aspects of what it is. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home, it started out exactly where it left off at the last movie, right? The end credit scene of the last movie is the first scene of this movie. And, it's Peter going ahead trying to get away with Zendaya, aka MJ. They're trying to get away from the public eye because his identity has just been revealed. Um, People are kind of had mixed reactions in regards to that. The people in the movie when they found out Peter Parker was Spider-Man, people were somewhat surprised. People also were like, "Oh, okay." You know, and you got to think about that. These are people that have gone through alien invasions, been snapped away for 5 years. They've been going through everything. So Peter Parker being Spider-Man is like a mild surprise for them. Peter's low key. But anyway, they get away. Um, and there's a whole subplot of this movie where they're trying to get into MIT, which, if you guys know, MIT was where Tony Stark went to college. That's his alma mater, right? Um, that's where he went. So all three of them are trying to get into MIT. However, due to Spider-Man's identity recently being revealed, MIT was like, nah, we can't be admitting you guys in, because they all got taken into jail and questioned by the DOD, Department of Damage, which they were in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie dealing with the Vulture. So that happens. We get to the point where uh, Peter is kind of held up in the apartment with Aunt May, and Happy is over there because Aunt May was just using Happy for dick, and their time went, and so she's trying to break up with Happy, or breaks up with Happy, and he's torn up. But she's like, it was fun while it lasted. May was on to the next. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, May, young May Day. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then it turns out that everybody finds out, um, and so May's trying to keep a good, calm demeanor. And in the kitchen, just out of nowhere, you see a blind man with red sunglasses, who appears to be Peter's sort of counsel. And when you see this guy, you're like, yo. Now, as somebody that never saw Daredevil, I mean, I started trying to watch it, but like a couple episodes in, it hasn't really hooked me yet. But even I can understand significance of, okay, we got Netflix Daredevil here, Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, I think that's his name. I think Charlie Cox, something like that. And he was in it, and he was Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil, but he was Matt Murdock. And you're looking here, and you're like, damn, they really doing this for real, for real. And so there's a little scene where someone throws a brick through Aunt May's window, and uh, Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, he catches it even before Spider-Man's Spidey sense could go off. Matt Murdock caught it perfectly. Now this is a blind lawyer, and there's a part there's a part where Peter's like, well, the next part, Peter's like, hey, how did you do that? And then Matt Murdock says, I'm just a really good lawyer. I'm like, and it's funny because it's a double meaning, right? So lawyers are supposed to keep you from, people will cast stones on you, and lawyers are there to protect you legally from legal stone throwing. So it's just interesting that someone physically throws a brick made of essentially stone. You guys get it, okay? So that was really tight. I just thought it was such a well done movie. I mean, my personal thoughts were that uh it was 2 hours and 28 minutes, did not feel that long. I was in there. I made sure I didn't drink any water or anything like that before I sat down, and I sat through that whole movie. I was entertained from start to finish. It was just great. It was just great. All the actors did amazing. Tom Holland did great. Zendaya, Jacob Batalon did great. MJ and Ned, like everybody was on point in that movie. It almost felt like it was the ending of something. The way that they were acting, it felt like it was like it was the end. Like they went super hard, and it was perfect. Everything aligned. There was a lot of villains in the movie. I didn't know how everyone was going to get enough screen time. However, like there was a lot going on in this movie for 2 hours and 28 minutes. And that's a pretty long runtime, but it all flowed so well. And that's what I love about it. Such a great movie. It flowed well. The jokes landed, good jokes, Easter eggs, stuff like that. I mean, I'm telling you, like just the just the interactions between the characters really just set it above. blew me away. Right. Uh, again, I told you there's going to be spoilers in this, so don't get upset. This is the second time I've said there's going to be spoilers that I'm going to go through. Again, if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie and then watch this. If you have seen the movie and you're not worried about it, or you're not going to see the movie because whatever reason, let's continue. But I'm telling you, the interaction between the Spider-Men was crazy. Um, it's all about where Tom was, or it's hard for me to say Peter Parker because there's multiple Peters. So I will say Tom Holland to differentiate. So where Tom Holland was in the character arc of his Peter Parker was in a very tumultuous, very despondent, hurt point of view. So when these other Spider-Men come into play after they're brought into the universe and try to talk to him, Tom's like, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. I don't give a damn about anything. I don't want to hear it. Let's just get y'all back home. I'm over here dealing with the most. Essentially, his whole world had shattered because of, um, unfortunately, the untimely death of someone that was close to him. I'll try to be veiled about it. I won't try to give it all away, but y'all know. And so you have the Amazing Spider-Man talking about how where he made mistakes as being Spider-Man, and there was some pretty like crazy implications too because you have. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Point is, initial thoughts, great movie. I love the runtime. I wish the movie was longer, but maybe that's just because I was so enthralled in it. Acting was amazing. The audio direction was amazing. Um, Everybody really brought their A game. The story was good. You know, it was a mixture of the. I think there's a comic called One Last Day or something like that. So I forgot the name of it. One Last Day. Man, I should have been on VV. I probably could have picked up some good comics or collectibles on the day of. Damn, I didn't even think about that. But anyway, it was really good. The mid credit and end credit scenes, mwah, chef's kiss for real. So let's kind of go ahead. So initial movie, great movie. You should see the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, amazing. Okay, amazing. Go see the movie. It's worth the money. Great movie. Even if you don't like comic book or superhero movies, just a great movie because it was deeper and darker than I thought it'd be when you really get to it. So let's talk about my favorite parts, right? We're after we're done with initial thoughts. My favorite part, like I said, um, the Matt Murdock reveal and the brick through the window, that was pretty good. I really liked that part. Um, I liked where um, Peter and the Doctor Strange fight was tight in the mirror dimension, or even before it got to the mirror dimension, when pretty much Doctor Strange is like, "Yo, we're gonna have to send these motherfuckers back, man. For real, this gonna mess with stuff. You messed up the spell. Okay, so let's talk about the spell. The spell. This is what I didn't like. Peter, get your shit together, Peter. I understand. You change. Peter really is to blame. Peter's to blame. Strange can only do what he can do, but when he's actually talking and changing the incantations, Peter was to blame for that spell going awry. There's no way around that. He is absolutely to blame. I guess you could say him and Doctor Strange is to blame, but if someone is more at blame than the other, certainly Peter. Because he's like, all right, I want everybody to forget. Oh wait, no, no, no. How about I need MJ to remember. Okay, no, I damn. I need Aunt May to remember. Oh, I need Ned. Okay, well hold on. And then he says at the very end, anybody that already knows I'm Spider Man, I need them to know I'm Spider Man. Everyone else forget. And he messes it up. Doctor Strange couldn't concentrate, fucks the spell up, and then it explodes right then and there. but then Doctor Strange is able to put it in one of those pentagram pentagonal cubes, which, if you guys remember, the and see, this is why you got to watch the what ifs. But the Doctor Strange in that one created a pentagonal cube. Well, it was more than a pentagonal, but a cube to create a pocket dimension where you had Ultron and Killmonger in it. So he does the same exact thing, but just with the spell. And so goes ahead and puts this in some sort of box, mystic box or whatever. After he takes it out of the mystic box, then he's like, "All right, we got to go ahead and find these people that are coming into this dimension, and you're tasked to go ahead and find them." So I'm like, "All right, I like that. I like the setup. Is like, all right, we got to go hunting now." Spider-Man essentially becomes Craven the Hunter. He's hunting down all of these people. Now, a lot of these people are already finding him. When I first, my favorite part, yeah, I gotta say, when him and Doc Ock on that bridge in that fight, that was hard. I can't lie, because you got to think about what's going through his head. What's going through his head is like, all right, man, I my girl and my dude got all messed up because of me. Let me try to get him into MIT. You know, you heard me. And he tries to get him in there. Tries to talk to the director lady on the bridge, and then Doc Ock out of nowhere starts raising hell. And it's a good fight because Doc Ock was pretty savage, but to see like how good that nano suit was and how it integrated and everything and just how it saved him, it was like, wow, okay. And I for sure thought Peter was about to get sliced open or impaled with that, but that nanotech, man, that's some pretty good stuff. And then another part I liked that um, the Green Goblin reveal was good. I thought that was really nice, really well done. And just kind of the angle it took. Not that he had to find him, but he found him, and that was interesting. And you couldn't tell who was Norman, who was Green Goblin. And I think there were some moments where it was Norman. Did switch back. You know, he did break out of the insanity, but for the most part, Green Goblin was chiefly taken over. I liked where Green Goblin stole the donuts. That was funny. I was like, nigga, you know, you have as many as you want. But that was tight. What else was tight? The fight between Green Goblin and Spider-Man, that was tight. You almost forget how strong the Green Goblin is. Green Goblin, he's got enhanced strength, speed. I don't know if that's like mental intellect or what, but Green Goblin is nobody to play with. He was getting him up, and he was eating them punches. It was crazy. It was really crazy. The other part I liked how he tried to heal everybody. Tom Holland was the only one that's like, you know what? With this technology that Mr. Stark left me, I can fix you all. And Tom Holland reminds me of a chick that gets with, you know, gets with a guy or a guy with a chick that's broken, and then they're like, you know what, I can fix you. And you know, he actually had the ability to fix him. I thought after they saw him fix Doc Ock, which would have been the hardest one, I think would be to fix, I thought they'd all be on board. But here's the thing: Electro, he never wanted to like lose his powers. His powers defined who he could be. So if Peter was like really thought about it, and Peter was like, you know what? Okay, you don't want to lose your powers? Fine. Let me teach you how to channel them, how to work them, and not be a piece of shit. Then yeah, that would have worked out. I think Electro would have been on board. Sandman saw how he fixed it. Sandman, if he had just played the part, Sandman could have been fixed up quick. I mean, Norman Osborn was the real shit starter there. And interestingly enough, Tom Holland's antidote for Norman didn't work, but Spider-Man's Toby Maguire's antidote did work, and that makes sense. I mean, He would have the base research. He'd have all that information. Um, that that last fight was tight when they all worked together. Um, there's just so many good parts to this movie. It's hard to go into them like that. One part I really liked, and then we'll go to the next section, was how and I was wondering how they would explain it. Toby is the only one that shoots web from his wrist. All the other guys, they got to make their own web fluid. And Andrew Garfield Spider Man and Tom Holland Spider Man were bonding over, excuse me, how they had to make web fluid. Toby's like, wait, you guys don't just, you guys don't make your own? Like, it doesn't just come from your body? They're like, no. They were freaking out. They're like, what? They're like, oh, that's so cool. And it is cool. Like, Toby, a lot of people don't realize, like, Toby's like Spider Man. Like, my boy's genetic structure, molecular structure has been like augmented forever. Like, this guy is Spider Man. But then they asked, like, so does it come out of anywhere else? The spider gunk. They thought it was gonna come out the bud or the nut, spider nut. You know what I'm saying? But nah, nothing like that. But it was funny. Um, so that was good. If there was a part I didn't like in this movie, it would have been. I feel like they could have introduced Toby a bit better than they did. Um, I guess it was also very surreal, but I feel like they could have did a better job introducing Toby because it because Toby was already saying he was already looking for this universe's Spider-Man. Like, Toby's really smart. Like, he kind of picked up on it. He's like, okay, I'm in a different universe. Let me find this universe's Spider-Man. But I think the reveal could have been a bit better. Um, you know, Toby Maguire's old. He's getting old. It was still great to see him. I thought he played everything, did really good, but he's old. And I think that's kind of cool how they did it. Like, you got Tom Holland in 2023. He's high school senior. You got in 2023 in Andrew Garfield's time frame. He's probably out of college, young man, mid, in his mid 20s, Spider Man. And then you got Tobey Maguire, who in 2023, based off of his movies, he'd be in his 40s, or 40s or 50s, something like that. So it all made sense from a time frame point of view. So it was very interesting. Um, I do find it interesting that I guess that was the only thing to reveal, and also, like, I feel like a lot of like a quick conversation could have helped a lot of people out. Like, things didn't have to go the way they did. I know they did for a drama point of view, but didn't have to actually go down like that. They could have all had a very calm, reasonable conversation. A lot of this would have been avoided. So that's about what I didn't like. All right. So the next question is Tom Holland a good Spider Man? So, in my opinion, Tom Holland, uh, if this movie had not come out, or let me just say prior to this movie, the last two movies, I thought Tom Holland Spider Man was okay. I'm like, this guy isn't really Spider Man. He's more like Spider Boy. You don't really get the sense that, okay, this guy is Spider Man. And they did that on purpose. I didn't know that till seeing the end of seeing this movie. But what I didn't realize was Tom Holland's Spider Man, the Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, and even the Civil War and Endgame and Infinity War Saga, though that's an origin story for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I didn't realize that. I don't think anybody realized that was the case. So in that aspect, is Tom Holland a good Spider-Man? We will see. We haven't seen him be actually Spider-Man. All we've seen is his origin story up till now. Now, was he a good Spider Boy? I mean, he's pretty whiny, but again, he's a kid. He's a high school kid. What do you expect? So, is he a good Spider-Man? I would say it remains to be seen, but I did enjoy his acting throughout these different renditions of Spider-Man. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Now, my favorite Spider-Man would be, let's see here. Well, I think it goes without saying. My favorite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man because Tobey's origin story was just one movie, and then the rest was him being Spider-Man. Tom Holland was pretty much, you never got to see him get bit by the spider. You just knew it happened, and you knew there was Uncle Ben wasn't there, but he had Aunt May. So it was from the get go. It was a very unconventional version of who Spider Man's supposed to be, and I guess I would say my favorite Spider Man is still Toby. I don't. I'll be honest. I watched the Amazing Spider Man 2 and 1. I honestly I don't I just I don't know. I don't think Andrew Garfield was that good. Like he's very quippy. He's a good, I think Andrew Garfield, okay, I'm gonna take the Batman approach. I think Tobey Maguire is an excellent Peter Parker and he's a good Spider-Man. But if we had to look at this, Tobey Maguire is a good Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield is a good Spider-Man because he captures the quippy ness of Spider-Man. He's a good Spider-Man. Tom Holland, I guess you could say he's a good both. He's a good Spider-Man. Uh, is he a good Spider-Man? I don't know, but he's definitely a good fleshed out Peter Parker now. When you look at all three movies in totality, and of course Infinity War and Game, he's a good Spider-Man. This is interesting because he grew up. He grew up. We got to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man grow up. We got to see him really be affected because he really didn't have any tragedies other than getting blipped, and then he came right back as far as he knows. He hasn't really had any other tragedies in his life, so he's a really untested Spider-Man. So, yeah, I gotta go. Toby's my favorite Spider-Man. Um, it would be Toby. It would be Tom Holland. Miles Morales. Oh well, we don't. Uh, the actor that plays them, and then Andrew Garfield. Well, actually, technically speaking, my favorite Spider-Man, if we're talking about animated and real world universes, I would say is Spider-Man animated series. He was a good Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, the Miles Morales guy, and Andrew Garfield in that order. Now, what was the best Spider-Man movie? So let's go ahead and get to our tier list and let's take a look at this. See these dogs? Alrighty. Let's make you bigger. Okay. So let's go ahead and make the official tier list. So I'm gonna say we'll go from worst to best. Uh I don't think Spider-Man was 3 was, honestly, I'm just gonna say this. I'm sorry. Trash. I don't like these movies, man. I don't like these movies. Um Yes, yes. Spider-Man 2, like, it was good. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I kind of like Spider-Man 1 better, but I haven't watched Spider-Man 2, and people say Spider-Man, fuck it. People say Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 1. It might have been because there was like a level of intrigue there. Uh, I like Spider-Man 1. I like Spider-Man 1. William Defoe is a villain, or you got you for 3 minutes. Yeah, that's how I'm going. Um, Venom was Can I say Venom was better than Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1? I don't know. Let me see. Okay, Spider-Verse, absolutely. That's a Now Spider-Verse before Home No Way Home came out, Spider-Verse was my favorite Spider-Man movie. This movie has got some juice. This movie's got some juice for animated feature. Best animated Spider-Man I've ever seen. Um Live action for a long time is this one, but this one is overtaking it or is on par with Spider-Man 1. No Way Home, it didn't really hit for me. I'll give that a C. I actually liked Homecoming better because it was my first time seeing this Tom Holland Peter Parker after the events of what happened, and then he had to fight the Vulture. I look more fondly. I think that's fair. Hold on, let me see here. I think Venom 1 was better than Let There Be Carnage. Was it? I don't I don't have Let There Be Carnage on here. You know what? And maybe I'm being unfair with these. Maybe I'm being unfair with this right here. But maybe am I being unfair with these? I don't know. I have to watch these again. I have to watch these again. Venom was good. I like Venom because of possibilities, but they are some goofballs, man. I just don't remember. I just didn't like that. Venom wasn't that good. All right, this is what I'll do. I will do it like this. There. That is going to be the official. That is going to be the official tier list right there from the movies. Spider-Man: No Way Home, Spider-Man 1, Spider Into the Spider-Verse, all S tier movies. Spider-Man 2, A tier. Spider-Man 3, I didn't think it was as bad as everybody said. I give it 3 tier. Spider-Man Homecoming was new, was fresh. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm with it. Spider-Man 1 and 2, again, I don't really remember these movies like that. I just watched this and I fell asleep. And Venom was like, eh. And even Let There Be Carnage was, eh. Yeah, that's official right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and that's the official tier list. Stop the screen. All right, and then let's see here. Bing bong. Okay. Did Peter make the right decision? So what I'm referring to is, did Peter Parker make the right decision in regards to Endgame? Not Endgame. The end of the movie by saying, "Hey, Doctor Strange, fulfill the wish and make everybody forget about me." Yeah, I mean, save the multiverse. Conceivably, it saved the multiverse. So he did make the right decision. Now, did he make the right decision to stay away from MJ when he was about to go ahead and try to get her to remember or provide some sort of proof of his existence? Um, and Ned, I mean, we let's do the flip test. Would it be weird if someone came up to us that we don't know, we don't have no memory of, no recollection of, and saying, "Hey, so I'm Spider-Man, or I'm some famous person, and I did some sort of spell that made everybody in the world forget I'm you, but or I'm who I am. But you and me, we had something special together, and I love you. This is my proof of this. Let me tell you." Would you believe that person? And furthermore, if your identity caused that much anguish, harm to a person, would it be better if you truly love them? Do you keep them from harm's way, even at the expense of the love that you two share? And I believe he did make the right decision. Would I have made that decision? That's it's hard. Love is a hard thing because at one point it's like, okay, we had an organic love versus, okay, um, do you love me because I'm Spider-Man? Do you love me because I'm not Spider-Man? And then if you don't remember me one way or another, are you gonna love me because I'm Spider-Man? And this is how I'm trying to get you to remember. But how are you gonna? Is the love gonna be the same? Are you gonna be able to build it? You could probably build it back by just talking to her, being cool with her, dating her, so on and so forth. But he just loves her too much. He's not gonna stop being Spider-Man. He's given up everything to literally be Spider-Man. So I guess you could say he made the right decision. It's just a very tough decision to make. Let's see, plot holes. What's a plot hole? A plot hole in Spider-Man No Way Home. Uh, what's a plot hole? I guess one of the things that I was like, what? Was how people remember Spider-Man but don't remember Peter Parker. And I guess technically speaking, people can remember what Spider-Man did. But then here's the question. If Doctor Strange forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man and he cast a spell, but the whole world at least remembers Spider-Man and the deeds of Spider-Man, why couldn't Peter Parker go to the Sanctum Sanctorum and say, "Hey, Doctor Strange, you don't know me, but I am Spider-Man." Okay. And he's like, "Prove it." And he could prove he's Spider Man and say, "Hey, you just helped me. We just went, explain everything that happened and say, "Hey, we just went through a whole bunch of stuff together and you cast a spell that made you forget who I was. It was this spell, blah, blah, blah." Strange could look at him and be like, "Oh, wow, maybe that did happen. I'm sure that happened." And Peter could get some support if he needed it. He could get some support. But I mean, I like the direction it's going. It's like Peter's. he's broke Peter now. He's broke, living paycheck to paycheck, friendly neighborhood Peter, getting shitted on Peter. It's gonna be good for his character development into the Spider-Man we know and love. So this is the first time we've actually seen a Spider-Man go from child to man and hopefully develop into the hero that we want to see. I mean, he always keeps a bad chick with him, so I mean, he'll be all right. He's studying for his GED. That was tight. Giving hope to those that doing their GED. Um, most what the fuck moments. Shit. When I knew something was up. The moment I saw Tom Holland about to kill Norman Osborn and then Toby jump in the way, I'm like, Toby, move, 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 get out of there. I'm like, and Toby ain't saying shit. He's just looking Tom Holland deep in the eye, saying, "No, don't do this." And Tom Holland over here, like, "Yo, I'm trying to kill this mug." I knew the moment we took our eyes off of Norman, Norman being Norman, was going to do something to Toby. I'm like, "No, they are not going to kill Toby. They are not going to kill Toby off. No way. No, no." And when Toby gets stabbed, I'm like, "Bro." Like I'm like, oh my god, is that a kidney shot? Did he stab him in the kidney, in the liver, like in the stomach? Because a lot of people don't know, man. When you stab someone in the stomach, that stomach juice literally cooks their insides. It's crazy. That stomach lining is the only thing that protects you from like freaking burning through yourself. But anyway, yeah, I'm like, damn, I can't believe it. And I'm like, they are not going to kill Toby off. There's no reason to kill Toby off. And thankfully, they didn't kill him off. Like, he survived that. But I was about to start tripping. I'm like, no, you don't need to kill him. There's no reason to kill him. And then it's like, wow. Um, so that was a what the fuck moment for me. Uh, Another what the fuck moment would have been when we find out Ned got some magic, man. Ned got the juice. So, which is interesting. A lot of people thought he might become Hobgoblin, but really, he's got some sorcerer juice. So I'm wondering. Well, I honestly believed Ned might have been if they had remembered the events of what happened. I have no doubt that Ned would be in the Sanctum Sanctorum with Wong or Doctor Strange being his assistant, and Ned would have become a sorcerer. No doubt that would have happened if their minds have not been wiped. No doubt. Um, those are the only two real what the fuck moments I can think. I guess when Aunt May died, that was crazy. The Norman said, "You'll thank me for this later." He straight bombed. Dang, sent the grenade noob. All right. So live action Spider Verse. Am I ready for it? Hell yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much did it, but those are the only live action Spider Man we have. The only other thing I think they can do is bridge Spider Verse. Well, now that we saw that, they could probably do Spider Verse 2 and have these three Spider Man cameo into the Spider Verse 2, and that would be tight to see the animated versions of all the suits. But it also would have been tight to see a live action Miles Morales, which I heard they're gonna do. Um, just God, let it not be you know who. Um, so I'm definitely down for a live action Spider Verse, and we get Spider Verse 2. I think is that next year? I think so. Because I think we get Spider Verse 2 next year, and then we get Marvel Spider Man 2 in 2023, which is going to go raw. I mean, going to go hard. All right, so let's talk about the mid credit scene. The mid credit scene, It's Venom, Eddie. Eddie, you're drunk. So Eddie is over here in the universe. Didn't come to New York yet, but he's over here getting drunk, and he's talking to the bartender, and the bartender's like done. Bartender's explained everything that's going on like 4 or 5 times now. Eddie's like, let me just hear it again, because Eddie's a reporter. You guys got to remember, he's a reporter. He's being told about Thanos. He's being pretty much being caught up to speed about everything that's going on in the MCU, because he's from the Sony verse, and he's getting drunk. And then when the spell is cast, I guess during the same time he's at the bar, he had made plans to go to New York because he was going to go see Spider-Man. Um, but as soon as he had said that, he gets warped right back to his home, back in the Sonyverse. So the end credit scene for Let There Be Carnage paid off him getting into the MCU because of Doctor Strange's spell. And then end mid credit scene paid off him going back to the Sonyverse. I thought he wasn't coming back, but he is coming back. So he's in the Sonyverse now again. So then the question becomes, um, how has Peter become Venom? And we see a little small bit of the Venom symbiote drinking alcohol that's left. I guess seemingly came off of Eddie when he's getting warped back to the Sonyverse. So somehow this little speck of black goo is going to somehow make its way to New York, or Peter's going to somehow make its way. We already know it can just travel from host to host via Let There Be Carnage, but it usually kills people because they can't take it. So somehow it's going to make its way to New York because that's what Venom's prime directive was. That was the last thought in the head of the symbiote before it got transferred back to its universe. So its goal is let's find Peter Parker. So definitely Spider-Man 4. I'm thinking we're going to get Peter. He's been Spider-Man on his own for a little bit, wearing his cloth suit, nothing fancy, nothing special, and he's going to get venomized. And it'll be interesting to see how a more grown up Tom Holland becoming venomized, what that looks like. But at least we'll get the black suit. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be real cool. The end credit scene. I was not expecting a whole trailer, but when I'm like, yo, this is a trailer for Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, yo, we're really doing something now. Wanda, man, Wanda's looking more and more like a villain each time I see her. Wanda is a villain. Um, I definitely think she's going to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness. I think that a lot of the stuff she's doing, the Darkhold, becoming the Scarlet Witch, is ultimately going to feed her into being the villain. I like how they're going through multiverses, the multiversal corridor that looked tight. The Sanctum Sanctorum looks like it's had better days. One what the fuck moment that I didn't expect: Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme, because I forgot Steven did get snapped for 5 years, so of course there had to be a Sorcerer Supreme, and if Wong didn't get snapped, Wong would be the next logical conclusion. I'm sure if Mordo was around and he hadn't turned, he might have become the Sorcerer Supreme. So that was interesting. So I'm really hyped for Multiverse of Madness whenever that comes out. I think that's coming out this year, hopefully. It looks raw, and I feel like he's going to be dealing with some forces that he is not. I'm talking living tribunal type forces. We already saw Shima Gorath. Shima Gorath's going to be in it, although it looks smaller than I'd imagine. Um, so if I was gonna say who's the blame for the multiverse of madness, we can't put this one on Peter solely. We got to blame Sylvie from Loki. for killing Kang, which caused the sacred timeline to split and create all these different realities. So that's what happened. So Sylvie is to blame for that. Peter is to blame for that spell going awry, of course. Uh, and but I think that was still something to be noticed. So Doctor Strange and Peter for the spell, Sylvie for killing Kang, um, uh, Thanos for the snap, which caused the Eternals, Tiamat to almost awaken and destroy, but then also got the Celestials involved. But I don't think the Celestials were tripping too much. So I guess maybe this multiverse of madness is based off of Kang and Sylvie. I mean Sylvie, Kang, and let me see here, and Peter and Doctor Strange. I would say those are who to blame. But yeah, so that was my review and impressions of Spider-Man: No Way Home. Great movie, excellent movie, best one that I've seen. Maybe it's because it had elements of all the other movies, which made it the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen, and there's probably truth to that. But we can tell that the sum of the parts are just part of what makes a greater whole. So I loved it. It was great. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I left a lot out. This was pretty good. I left a lot out, so it's still not super spoiled or anything like that. Um, it was great. So definitely go see it. Go check it out. Um, let me know how you guys liked it. If you liked it, if you watched this and you liked it, feel free to comment. Let me know what parts you liked, what parts you didn't like. Give me a theory too, a theory of what you think is going to happen in the future. And as always, this is Real Talk, Real People, Carter Drew, and keep it real. Peace. Bing bong.